Hello, welcome back to another Story with Rob. This time, keeping up our Christmas traditions in the Christmas jumper for our next Christmas story, which is Mr. Christmas by Roger Hargreaves. So we've gone through Mr. Bump, Mr. Tickle, Little Miss Magic, all of these, and now, at Christmas time, we meet Mr. Christmas. One day, Mr. Christmas receives a phone call from his uncle, Father Christmas. He needs help with the Christmas presents. Can Mr. Christmas deliver the presents to all the Mr. Men? Well, if you're enjoying these Christmas stories, make sure you like and subscribe for more. And let's find out if Mr. Christmas can help out his uncle, Father Christmas. So let's dive right in. Mr. Christmas by Roger Hargreaves. In my snow-covered cottage at the South Pole, I was having breakfast. Christmas pudding. That frosty morning, as I was popping the last piece of marmalade-covered plum pudding into my mouth, there was a knock on the door of Mistletoe Cottage. When I opened the door, I saw that it was the postman. "Hello, Percy," I said. "Come in out of the cold." "Don't mind if I do," replied Percy. "There's a bit of a nip in the air today." "Got a letter for you," said Percy, "and it has the North Pole postmark on it. I suppose it's from your uncle." Everyone at the South Pole knows about my famous uncle who lives at the North Pole. Good old Father Christmas, I chuckled. Haven't heard from him in ages. "Well," remarked Percy, "thanks for the warm-up. I'd better be off now." Percy the Penguin. I opened the envelope. "Dear nephew," read the letter. "I hope all is well down there. We are busy as usual up here, getting things organised for Christmas, which is one of the reasons I'm writing to you. Can you help? Each year, I'm finding it more and more difficult to get round to all those Mr. Men. There seems to be so many of them all over the place, and I was wondering if this year, as a big favour to your old uncle, you could stand in for me. Hoping you can help, your ever-loving uncle." That very evening, I put through a long-distance call to North Pole 253. "Hello," chuckled a rather deep rumbling voice at the other end of the telephone. "Father Christmas speaking." "Hello, Uncle," I said. "Your letter arrived this morning, and I'd love to help." "Oh, good for you," the voice rumbled in my ear. "If you have a pencil and paper, I'll give you the Mr. Men's names and addresses." "I'd no idea there were so many of them," I said. "Do you think you can manage?" asked my famous uncle. "I'll lend you a couple of reindeer if you like." "Oh, no," I said. "I can manage." I read through the list of Mr. Men while I was having supper. "This is going to keep me busy," I said. "First things first," I thought to myself. "And the first thing I need is transport." "And the first thing I need is transport," I thought, as I chewed, "is to talk to the wizard, Wizard Winterbottom." There he is thinking about all the Mr. Men. The following morning, I set off to see the wizard. It had been snowing again during the night, and I was quite out of breath by the time I arrived at Wizard Winterbottom's castle. I must say it's the biggest castle I'd ever seen. Mind you, it has to be big, because Wizard Winterbottom is a giant. And, goodness knows how many times taller than me he was, stood the huge figure of Wizard Winterbottom. "Christmas!" he boomed in a voice that made my head spin. "How nice to see you. Come in, follow me." He is enormous. "Now," thundered Wizard Winterbottom, "what brings you here on a cold winter's morning like this?" I told him all about my famous uncle, and about how I'd been asked to help, and about all the Mr. Men, and about where they lived, and about the fact that I needed transport. Special transport. Retorted the wizard. "Can you help me?" I asked hopefully. "Yes," he said eventually, "but I can't do anything until the middle of next week." "Thank you very much," I replied. Goodbye, I shouted, but he didn't hear me because he was too busy already thinking. See Mr. Christmas down there? Teeny tiny Mr. Christmas? Exactly 2 weeks later, I paid a return visit to the enormous castle. "Hello, Christmas," boomed the giant voice. He took me into his kitchen, lifted me up onto his enormous table, and set me down with a bit of a bump. "There's your transport," said Wizard Winterbottom. "But that's your teapot," I said in bewilderment. "You've heard of flying saucers," he laughed. "Well, you're looking at the world's first flying teapot." "Gosh," I said, "how does it work?" "Tea bags," came the thunderous reply. "I've put an engine inside the spout. All you need to do is refuel every 1,000 miles or so, and you can fly up to 3 times the speed of sound." Very fast teapot. We took the flying teapot outside the castle, and I pressed the start button in great excitement. I zoomed right around the South Pole, and in no time at all, landed safely back at the castle. "Well," said Wizard Winterbottom. I was lost for words. "Fan-jolly-tastic," suggested the wizard. I grinned. "Abso-jolly-lutely," I replied. There they are, zooming around in that teapot. That evening, I sat down and made a list of Christmas presents for all the Mr. Men. Another list, a very long list. And I didn't finish till 3 o'clock in the morning. I spent the next week and a half wrapping up all the presents, and almost before I knew it, December the 24th arrived. Christmas Eve. It's going to be a long day, I thought to myself, as I packed up all the brightly coloured parcels into my flying teapot. It was snowing lightly as I took off from the South Pole. That Christmas Eve was indeed a very long day, and a very long night too, and the moon was just disappearing over the horizon of Loudland when I delivered the last of the presents to Mr. Quiet. I was quite exhausted. Christmas morning dawned, and all over the world, everyone started to open their presents. At 7 o'clock, Mr. Fussy opened his present. 365 yellow dusters, one for every day of the year. At 7:05, Mr. Small opened his present. 1 jelly bean, gift-wrapped, banana-flavoured. A feast. At 7:10, Mr. Greedy opened his present. A cookery book entitled 1001 Ways to Roast an Ox. Mr. Greedy licked his lips and rubbed his tummy. All happy with their presents. At 7:15, Mr. Tall opened his present. Socks, striped socks, the longest, stripiest pair of stretchy socks you've ever seen. At 7:20, Mr. Muddle opened a packet of cornflakes. Funny sort of present, he thought to himself, not noticing his real present. At 7:25, Mr. Mean opened his present. A purse. A very small purse. Just small enough not to take any money. At 7:30, Mr. Forgetful opened his present. Is it my birthday, he thought to himself. There they all are. Mr. Muddle opening his cornflakes instead of his present. At 8:20, Mr. Chatterbox opened his present. A dictionary. How very, 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 very useful, he murmured. At 7:45, Mr. Topsy-Turvy opened his present. A picture. How nice, he said as he hung it on the wall. Upside down. Lovely picture of a worm. At 7:50, Mr. Uppity opened his present. A present for the man who has everything. A gold-plated back-scratcher. At 7:55, Mr. Funny opened his present. A book of knock-knock jokes. Knock, knock. Who's there? You know, the sort of thing. and at 8 o'clock precisely, Mr. Silly opened his present. An electric, fully automatic, instant digital, computerized thingamajig. What's an electric, fully automatic, instant digital, computerized thingamajig? I've no idea. And he seems happy with it. Just after 8 o'clock that morning, the telephone rang. "Hello," rumbled a voice. "Hello," I answered. "Happy Christmas." "That's me," laughed Father Christmas. "And a happy Christmas to you too." "And that's me too," I replied. "How did it go?" Father Christmas asked me. "Just got back," I said. "Me too," sighed my uncle wearily. "Had a bit of a problem in France. Got stuck in a chimney." "Saw those mince pies," I chuckled. And that is the end of my story. Well, nearly, almost. Not quite. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Mr. Slow finally managed to open his present. 5 o'clock in the afternoon was the time, and the day was New Year's Eve. Ah, Mr. Slow. The end. There we are. Mr. Christmas by Roger Hargreaves. Mr. Christmas in the South Pole, Father Christmas in the North Pole. So there we are. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you next time for more Stories with Rob. Bye-bye.